I think the president's going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Xenia City Council meeting. Tonight is Thursday, June 11th. At this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We will be standing for invocation led by myself, followed by a pledge of allegiance by Councilman Dean. If you could all please rise. Dear Lord, thank you for tonight. Thank you for the nice weather. We pray for leadership. We pray for our country. We pray for unity and peace. Be with us tonight. Help us make the right decisions for our constituents and for our community. Watch over us and give us safe passage tonight as we leave this meeting. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
About a 3-second delay.
Thank you, Councilman Dean, for the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I'll ask for roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace.
Here.
Councilman Scrivens.
Present.
Councilwoman Dean.
Here.
Councilman Branham.
Here.
Councilman Dean. Here. Mayor Mays.
Here.
President Smith.
Here. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the approval of minutes from our May 28th, 2020 regular meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Got a motion by the mayor. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Vice President Wallace. Any additions, corrections, or comments regarding the minutes before us? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilwoman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Branham.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. We have no special presentations tonight, and due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the public comments are solicited by email to Michelle Johnson at ci.xenia.oh.us. Did we receive any? We did not receive any audience comments for tonight. So we're moving on to old business. Our first item is Resolution 2020-N, the second reading. This is amending Resolution 2019-N to extend the due date of the Charter Review Commission's report to City Council. This was introduced by Councilman Scrivens on 5/28.
Mr. President, I'd like to move for passage.
Thank you very much. Move for passage. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by the mayor. Any comments or questions regarding the item before us? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilwoman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Branham.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is a public hearing of Ordinance 2020-05, also a second reading. This is amending the official zoning map of the city of Xenia to rezone 2 parcels totaling 3.94 acres at 774 Cincinnati Avenue from I-2 Heavy Industrial to B3 General Business District. And this was introduced by Vice President Wallace back in March 12th of 2020.
You want a motion at this time for passage?
Have to conduct the public hearing.
Okay,
Yes, public.
so at this time, we're going to open the public hearing regarding this amendment. And I will ask for anyone who would like to speak in favor of the rezoning to come forward. I believe we have one person
Yes,
in the
she's-
lobby.
She should be on the TV.
And she's going to come up on our TV. So those that are watching, if you could bear with us for just a moment. Thank you very much. There she is. Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We're moving right along at 774 Cincinnati Avenue. We have a new parking lot. We have new cement poured, and all we want to do is just be able to keep going with it.
All right.
Any questions? I'm open to questions.
All right. Thank you very much. Any of my colleagues have any questions
We need her
regarding?
name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. For the record, could you give us your name and address? Thank you.
My name is Gail Matson, and the address is 774 Cincinnati Avenue.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate that. Anyone have any questions for Gail at this time? Those that are watching, this property is actually the food pantry that has been relocated. See no one have any questions, I'd like to ask, do we have anyone else tonight that would like to speak in favor of the rezoning? We have no one else in there? No, okay. Thank you very much. Do we have anyone tonight that would like to speak against the rezoning of these two parcels? Seeing none, do we have anyone who would like to speak neither for or against the rezoning of these two parcels? We do not see anyone else. So I'm going to, at this time, close the public hearing and ask for a motion. This was introduced, but we need a motion. Am I correct?
Yep.
I move the
Slaughter.
approval, Mr.
Okay.
President.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor for the rezoning by Vice President Wallace.
I'll
Do we have
second that.
And a second by Councilman Branham. Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace,
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens,
Aye.
Councilwoman Dean,
Aye.
Councilman Branham,
Aye.
Councilman Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Our next item is new business, Ordinance 2020-15, an introduction. This is determining to proceed with the improvement of city streets and public ways by the lighting therefore within Street Lighting District Number 5 for years 2021 through 2022. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, sir. As City Council has done on prior occasions to authorize 4 other street lighting districts, you are being asked tonight to initiate the second of 3 steps necessary to establish street lighting district number 5. This would be for the Sterling Green Crossing Phase 4. Pursuant to the city's land development code, developers may request the addition of street lights to new subdivisions, with the installation cost being assessed to the property owners who would benefit, and then the ongoing maintenance cost for electricity and so forth would be borne by the city. The council on March 26th of this year approved the required resolution of necessity to establish the district. That's step 1 in the process. Tonight, staff is recommending council introduce Ordinance 2020-15, an ordinance determining to proceed with the improvement of city streets by way of lighting for Street Lighting District Number 5. And again, this would be step 2 in the process, and we would have 1 additional step to come back to council, assuming you ultimately approve this item. So we are recommending introduction of the ordinance this evening.
Thank you very much. Do I have anyone that would like to make the introduction?
So introduced.
Introduced by Vice President Wallace. Our next item is Resolution 2020-0, an introduction. This is authorizing the sale of city-owned property located at 895 Louise Drive to Mr. Philip Stevens. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, sir. As you are all aware, our city administrative staff has been aggressive in seeking to divest, where it is practical, of city-owned property that is marketable and developable in an effort to put property back in the hands of private owners so the land can be used to its fullest potential. The added benefit is that in doing so, we are also reducing our operating costs to maintain these properties. Working with the local realtor, the city has been marketing various properties for sale. We've recently received an offer for one of these properties for the purchase of a city-owned parcel located at 895 Louise Drive. The city acquired the property from Greene County for $1,152.80 in 2014, and this was via tax foreclosure proceedings. The property, which is vacant but is developable, has sat in the unproductive state that it's currently sitting in for a number of years, and we've been maintaining that property. Purchase offer of $19,000 was submitted by Mr. Philip Stevens with the intent of building a new home on the location if the sale is approved. The offer requests the city pay for the closing costs, and as a result, the city would clear $17,522 for this property. After evaluating comparables with our realtor, this is a very competitive offer, even with the city covering the closing costs. So with that in mind, we think that this is a good opportunity to sell this particular parcel and allow some infill development and we are recommending that council introduce Resolution 2020-0, which would authorize the sale of 895 Louise Drive to Mr. Stevens under the terms as detailed in the report.
Thank you very much. Do I have anyone that would like to make the introduction?
So introduced.
Introduced by the mayor. Thank you very much. Our next item is also an administrative motion, which is approving the schedule of bills in the amount of $1,305,381.80. Mr. Finance Director.
Thank you, President Smith. This is a large schedule of bills. There are a couple things to note on the bills. The first is some improvements at Innovation Way. That's about $176,000 for the water and sewer portion of that project. We'll start to see some of the expenses related to the roadway coming soon. It was mentioned in the special session earlier, the county has made a contribution toward that roadway and are going to cover half of those costs, and so we're really thankful for them partnering with us on that project. For the city's portion of that project, it is likely that we are going to need to issue debt, and so we would most likely be bringing some information back to council here in the coming meetings for a GO bond for our portion, which will be around $575,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, would be the city's portion of that roadway. So we'll be bringing that back to council here in one of the coming meetings. The other major expenditure is an expenditure to Neptune Equipment Company for $911,000, and that is for the meter reading project that council approved a month or two ago. They have actually delivered many of the meters that are going to be installed, so they're here in the city on site, and they're going to start that installation process next week, so we'll start to get that moving. The city has, and council has already approved debt service for that project. That is sitting in escrow, and so those proceeds are available to pay for the city's costs related to that project. So those are the two notable expenses on the bills. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to do my best to answer them.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to pay the bills tonight?
So moved.
We have a motion by Vice President Wallace. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Dean. Any questions or comments regarding the schedule of bills tonight? Not seeing any. Go for a roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace?
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens?
Aye.
Councilwoman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Branham?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is appointed officials' reports and council comments. We'll start tonight first with our city manager.
Just one item briefly this evening. We want to publicly confirm that we are scheduled for our Sunny Cab Fireworks Festival for July 3rd. We're very, very excited to be able to host this event. It'll be a little different than prior years. In order for us to plan for an event that wouldn't get us in trouble with the Department of Health, we are, of course, having to shift the location away from Shawnee Park for this year only, and we will be hosting the fireworks on the west side of town. I'm not going to get into tonight all the details with that, but over the next 2 to 3 days, via social media, city's website, with the help of our partners at Xenia Rotary and others, including help of WBZI, we will be putting all the information out on the do's and the don'ts, where to park, where can you see this from your back porch, to give some folks an idea of how to prepare to participate or partake in this event. So again, more information coming out in the next few days, but we're super excited to have the opportunity to be able to present this show. We've had some last-minute donations that have come in from Xenia Rotary, from Xenia Nazarene Church, as well as Anderson Williamson Insurance, and it's allowed us to really ensure that we've got the ability financially with the show to do the larger shells, to make them more visible, and to have a quality of program that our community is accustomed to. The only other thing I'll say on that is that folks should expect a different experience this year. Obviously, we're not in the park where the fireworks are right there, where you can sort of feel the rumble and you can smell the smell. It'll be a little different this year because we're going to be viewing from a distance, but we think visually it'll be a spectacular event. And again, just very, very thankful to the Sunny Cab family, to the other donors, and all of our partners for coming together and really allowing us to do what only a handful of other communities in the region are doing this year, which is to have an event of this scale. So that's all I have this evening.
Thank you very much.
Now, will we do First Friday that Friday? or is it
First Fridays,
forecast?
volunteers
Same day
have
fireworks.
decided to cancel that for the season. Our intent is to bring all those things back next year. It's unfortunate that we can't do it this year, but it is what it is.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any questions for the city manager tonight?
I'd like to thank the city manager for his perseverance on this. This is our signature event, and I'm just happy that we all coalesced together and got this thing on the road, so.
Yeah, and kudos also to the
kudos.
retailers out there along Progress, Lowe's, Walmart, Kroger, all of them that we've reached out to have been very gracious in offering up their parking lots. Churches in that area have been very gracious in offering up their parking lots for public visibility of this. So again, it's just nice to see all these different elements in the community coming together to do something for the community.
Right, I would concur with Councilman Scrivens. Thank you for your diligence on this.
Absolutely.
There's a few times where we thought we were going to have to give this up. Do we know what time that's going to be and what time people should plan to arrive?
Yeah, we typically do it right around dusk. I think 9:30 to 10, but we expect to see people starting to load in some of those areas as early as 7 p.m. But again, we'll put out specific information on the time that we are recommending people begin to arrive. And folks should be aware too, since there are not many fireworks shows in the region this year, we do expect a lot of immigrants to Xenia that night to view the fireworks. So, you know, there's going to be some delays. Yeah, there will be some delays in traffic. It's just part of the experience. So,
All right.
So it looks like we're gonna do a little tailgating before the fireworks.
as long as you abide by all health department rules, I have to put that disclaimer out there. You'll be fine.
And thank you, Mr. City Manager, and our assistant
Well, I
city
just-
managers in the audience tonight, too. Our next appointed official report is from our finance director, Mr. Duke.
Thank you, President Smith. Mentioned that Neptune Equipment Company will begin installs next week. Most of our meters, probably 90% of our meters, are at the curb. It will take them anywhere from about 30 minutes to 60 minutes to do the change out, so the impact to the resident should be fairly minimal. We do have a number, probably around 1,000 accounts where the meter is inside. And so they will be sending letters to those customers, trying to set up appointments. They'll make several attempts to try to set up those appointments, and hopefully we can find a solution that works for both Neptune and the customers. So we'll work through those inside meters. Those are a little more difficult, but the vast majority of them are outside, and they'll begin changing those out next week. Since the city manager monopolized all the time at the work session, I'll bring up this one other point that we wanted to bring to council's attention because it's something we haven't discussed yet to this point. We do have about 330 accounts where they have irrigation meters installed. And as we do this change out, those irrigation meters would no longer be effective. We wouldn't be able to read those with the new reading system, which would necessitate a change out of those irrigation meters as well. Typically, residents have been responsible for paying for those irrigation meters, and our fee schedule currently it's about $250. We've pulled some data trying to see how many of the users really benefited from the installation of those irrigation meters, and I think for the most part, most of them did. They would have had significant savings because essentially when you have that irrigation meter, if you're watering your lawn, something like that, then you're not charged for any sewer when that occurs. And so there's some significant savings that they would have acquired when they installed those meters. Most of them were installed around the 06, 07 time frame. And so those meters are, in the 13 to 14-year-old time frame. But they would need to be replaced. And so we may have some residents who have some reservations about that. We're going to work with residents to the best that we can to let them know, whether or not that meter was even worth them installing. If they had minimal use of that and it wasn't worth the fee, then we'll certainly let them know that that's the case. We've also thrown around the idea of some sort of payment schedule instead of a $250 fee up front, of some sort of more graduated fee that we would put onto their account and assess it over a period of time to make it a little more tenable to the resident. But wanted to throw that out to council to see if you had any concerns, any feedback related to that particular issue, because it's not something that we had discussed, and as we were talking through this with Nico, thought that it was something that we should at least bring to your attention so you're aware of it, because it is a point that may be a little disappointing for some of the residents who've purchased those in the past.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. Finance Manager, what's the profile of the people who have the irrigation meters?
Profile as far as,
The type of user, what type of use is it, as opposed to regular home use?
yeah, so there are a lot of homes, I would say the majority of them are homes, who do a significant amount of watering of their grass, something like that. There are certainly several businesses as well who have an irrigation meter. I wouldn't say there's any one specific category. It's broad. It could be a residential user, could be an industrial user, or a retail user, something along those lines. So I wouldn't say there's any one specific group. It's really across the board that those users may have used an irrigation meter. Now, you may have a user, there are some users who use a significant amount of water, and as a part of their operation, there's some evaporation and those types of things that they account for. So they have a second meter that's a little different than just a standard irrigation meter, and they would have a requirement to purchase those meters as well. But it is well worth it for those businesses who are using significant amounts of water to install those meters. It's very much to their benefit. But I would say, of those 330, the vast majority of them are residential users.
I like the idea of, say, annualizing the fee. That would make the hit on them a lot easier.
I haven't had a chance to talk to the finance director yet, since he and I discussed this the other day, but late this afternoon I had a brief conversation with some of our maintenance leadership, and the idea emerged that we could also look at many of these meters. Some of these meters were installed fairly recently, like within the last few weeks or months. The meters themselves are probably not mechanically deficient necessarily because they're used so much less than the ordinary residential meter. What really is more urgent to replace is not the transponder, but the
Yeah, it's the receiver. It's the communication device, and
Right.
if it's been replaced in the last 5 years, then that's probably something that we could look at. We could just replace the actual communication device on the meter.
Which
If it's
would
an
really cut down
older
the cost.
meter, say it's in that 06, 07 timeframe, which is the bulk of these. I mean, there certainly are some that are more recent, but those older meters use a different type of technology that is not compatible with the new reading system, which is why we've decided to go this route of replacing all of our meters instead of just switching out some of the radio communication devices. Anyway, so that definitely would be if it's a resident who just switched recently, then there may be an opportunity for us to just change the communication device. If it's an older meter, it's going to have to be the entire thing that's
So my
replaced.
question, most of these people that have installed irrigation meters are, of course, for their watering their lawn. Did they pay for the plumbing and the meter, or just the plumbing and we
Yeah.
provided the meter?
Yeah, so as a part of our fee schedule,
Yeah.
typically, we did the install
Yeah.
and installed the meter for the $250 fee. So for the most part, they were probably getting that labor for free. There are some residents who did pay somebody to go ahead and install it for them, and that's an option. But a lot of our residents, they pay the $250 fee, and I believe that our guys actually go out and do the install.
So, and I don't know if this is the right time for this discussion, but doing the math, 300 customers at $250 is about a $75,000 charge. Do we have those funds available that we can, I mean, honestly, as a homeowner, I would be a little disappointed if I had to pay for that again, if that was done within the last five
Yeah,
or less years.
So we have some dollars in our water and sewer funds that potentially could be used for that purpose. I would probably encourage you not to go that route where you're paying for the entirety of the fee, because obviously there's a whole lot of customers out there who aren't receiving a meter as a part of that process. And I do think, if it's different if you installed it 2 or 3 years ago as opposed to 13 or 14 years
Right.
ago.
I do understand.
I think it would make sense maybe for council to consider some sort of scenario where you cover a portion of the cost. So that person would have to decide whether or not it's worth their while to go ahead and install a new meter. To the city manager's point, if it's a really recent meter and we can just switch out the transmitter, then that's a far cheaper option. So I think you could do those things. I don't know that it would that it would be a great solution to just cover the entire cost of anybody who has a meter today, although it's, that's a possibility, but I think it makes more sense to have some sort of fee schedule that's just makes it a little easier for them to recoup their costs. Because ultimately, they're saving a good bit of money by not paying those sewer charges over the years.
Right, so how soon do you need it to answer? Next meeting? Just something we can vote on next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what council would like to do. Right now in our fee schedule, it says that those meters are a $250 charge. So, that's how we would operate today without a change. If council would desire that we make some sort of change and have some other sort of program, at that point, then I think council would need to come back and take a vote. So I guess it really depends on how you guys want to proceed. If you want to stick with $250 fee, but maybe we put it on their account and give them more time to pay that, I think we could probably do that without council action. If you want to actually change it to where there is a reduced fee or no fee, or some other solution, then I think we'd need to bring something back to you for your consideration.
Yeah,
I do have-
any comments from,
I have a question, I guess, and that is, the city is going to enjoy a savings, manpower savings, as a result of having these new meters in that, as opposed to continuing with the old meters, right?
Yeah, so it takes them, I think, about 2 days to drive the city and to do those readings. So you're saving at least those 2 days that right now somebody's out
Physically.
driving the city, 2 days a month.
Okay.
And then there are probably some other efficiencies that ultimately we could enjoy as a result of this. We've talked about, but haven't actually set it in the fee schedule or made official policy about some of these shut-off meters where we could shut them off automatically. Say council could make a decision in the future that if you're shut off 5 times within a 12-month period, that we're gonna make you pay for and install an automatic shut-off meter where we can hit a button instead of sending a guy out to do it. And so, long term there could be some labor savings from those types of endeavors as well. But I think the most obvious is the 2 days that we're spending driving the city right now.
So we do have that savings, but I totally concur with Councilman Scrivens that it's a bit, especially right now with the COVID situation, it's a bit much to ask someone to spend $250 in addition to the bills that they've got. I like the idea of spreading it out over the time. I don't care what time, but a year or whatever. $250 gets down to less than $25 a month, $20 a month, I guess. So if that can something that can be done, I would certainly like to see us do it. But I totally agree with you. Looking at the sewer portion of my regular water bill, I can see where if I could escape that, it would be beneficial.
anyone else have any
Download the sewer.
No,
comments or suggestions?
I personally think that we definitely need to charge for it. You know what I mean? It's no different than anything else that you buy in life. You go out and you buy new tires for your car, eventually they're going to wear out. It's kind of a natural thing that we do have to pay for random upkeep, whether that be at our own houses or our cars or our toilets or anything like that. Yes, it stinks, but they also have that option to say, hey, I no longer want that meter, so therefore I'm not paying that $250.
Mr. President, I think the annualization of the fee is the best way to go.
Stretch those payments out.
Yeah.
So assess the $250 fee, but do it over a period of
Over
time.
time.
How far back can we go with people that just had recent installations of meters?
Yeah, we can. I can get you some data on how many people are.
I think we'll have to have more conversation in terms of what level of confidence do we have in the meters that, the finance director is suggesting anything that's, back to 06, 07 probably needs to be replaced.
Sure.
And we can debate, how far we need to go back, what level of confidence we have. Because again, the majority of them we haven't done as many in recent years. So there would be a lot more that under this approach would have to be replaced. But we can have more debate to see how we minimize some of that impact to people.
Do you need a vote on the spreading of the payments, or can we?
I don't think so. I mean, we're
that-
still assessing the same $250 fee. I think
how you
that
do it.
I
Is
think
that
that.
something that can be optional for somebody who just says, no, just take my 250 and
Sure.
I'm done?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
Take it along.
Some of us don't like
Yeah.
to spread it out.
I mean, you know, everybody's not like you, Mayor.
That's stressful to me.
Yeah, I
Having
don't.
things spread out, that stresses me out. So that's why I'm just making sure it's an
I
option.
think so long as we're charging what's in the
Okay.
fee schedule, the timing of those payments and how we're allocating that, I think we can work with that.
One last question, just in general, as the meters are installed all over the city for everyone, is there any water interruption for that 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, yeah, so
So-
they will knock on the resident's door, let
Thank
them
you.
know that they're there to change out the meter.
Don't get in the shower.
Just making
And-
sure that
Yeah.
we explain that.
Yeah,
that
it would
it's
be
not
a-
just there in front of your house for 20 minutes.
Right,
No,
yeah,
your water's
you
good.
would
Thank
be
you.
without water for that 30 to 60-minute time frame. Correct,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you very much. Anything else for the finance director?
Gotta tell people these
All right.
things.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Next up is our law director, Madam.
I have
Fisher.
nothing to add this evening, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attendance. Next is mayor and city council comments. I'll go first with Councilman Branham. Do you have anything tonight?
Nothing much here. Just want to say it sounds like we got good news coming that the Greene County Fair is going to take place, which I think is awesome. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. Next is Councilman Dean. Would you like to add anything tonight? Thank you very much, Councilman Dean. Next up, Councilwoman Dean.
I don't have anything to add tonight either.
Thank you very much. Councilman Scrivens.
Mercy. First thing, like to continually to congratulate our law director on her yeoman's work in doing this charter. This charter thing is not easy, and I'm glad we kind of had a little vacation that allows us to revive ourselves. But she's been hard at work at this, and we're going to report it out next year, this time, I believe, or maybe next April. So that work is in progress, and I sit on that committee, and I'm real proud of the work that we've been doing. I'm happy to see Dan Bullen and his people at the Greene County Fair get the show on the road. That's one of our signature events. So here in Xenia, we kind of missed the bullet, and we can revel in what we've done. I'd like to have invite the Greene County Health Commissioner in to give us a briefing. Don't keep us in the dark. Let us know from the top what's going on. And I think it'd be apropos if we extended an invitation to her and have her to come give us a 5 or 10 minute presentation and give us an update. Again, I congratulate the city manager and his team on the fireworks. In all of our doings, we have to have something that makes us happy. And this will go a long way in bringing us back to normalcy of some sort. So I'm just happy to hear that the major 2 events in Xenia and Greene County are scheduled to go. So with that, Mr. President, I thank you and thank the city of Xenia for having patience and getting through this. We're not totally out of the woods yet, but if we continue to persevere the way we have, I think we'll be in real good shape. I see some of the cities in Northeast Ohio are really taking a hit in terms of their revenues. So I'd like to compliment our finance manager for keeping us afloat and keeping us rolling. So you guys do a real good job. I want to tell the people that we got 3 top people that do a real good job, and for them to forego a salary increase shows you the heart that they have for the city. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I concur with that, Councilman Scrivens. Next up, Mayor Mays.
I just got a text from Gail Matson, who was here earlier, and she said she forgot to make sure that she invites everybody to come out and actually see the work that they're doing at the pantry. So she wanted me to pass that on, to please come out and visit them on Cincinnati Avenue. Also just wanted to give a quick thanks for those who participated in the prayer vigil on Saturday. I just couldn't be proud of our community. It was the crowd that was there. It was a beautiful crowd. They handled themselves well. They participated well. Thank our city manager for speaking, and thank you as well, Councilman Wallace, for praying and for leading us. And it was really encouraging to hear from the heart of our chief, which is, I think, something that we don't get to hear very often, but to hear him speak from the heart. He came over and stood next to me afterwards. I may have been bawling my eyes out, and just told him I've never been more proud in that moment to have him as our leader of our police. It just, his heart is just beautiful on that. And Captain Johnson, Captain Lane were both there, and again, just represented our police department well. Our pastors are people from many churches. One of our business owners helped to organize the event, one of our small business owners. And it was a day that we could walk away from, and hopefully with a lasting impact. But I just wanted to thank people out loud for coming, for praying. It does not stop there, and I think that it is imperative that as a community we continue to gather and pray and to love each other well. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Mays. Vice President Wallace.
I would like to concur with Councilman Scrivens as well as the mayor about all of the issues that he's raised. And I guess I do have a question too about the hamvention. Do we know whether or not it's on or off?
It is canceled.
It is canceled. So unfortunately, we were not able to get that for this summer. But I'm glad that we are going to have the fireworks and the fair. And I do applaud the efforts that you've expended at getting that. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, I'm glad to see that all three of you are appointed officials, have willingly expressed willingness to forego raises this year so that we can get our finances under control. And I just applaud you for the attitude that you come do that with. And I too agree with the mayor. It was a warm morning.
It was toasty.
And I when I walked out of the house, I think I was so dumb because as I walked out the door, Joy said, "Aren't you going to take your umbrella?" And I said, "Nah, I don't need an umbrella." But when I sat in that sun, after a while, I was so thankful that my daughter came up with an umbrella and protected my bald head from the elements. But it was a wonderful time. It was just a very spiritual time, and it made me very proud to be a part of the City of Hospitality, and certainly to represent the City of Hospitality on this council. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wallace. Really appreciate those comments. Mr. City Manager, if you could make a copy of this and just put it in everyone's mailbox, that would certainly be appreciated. So I'd like to thank everyone that's watching for tonight. I'd also like to thank our council for attending the executive meeting in advance. Normally we do these after going to a funeral right away after this. So I'd like to thank you for that. Just also remind council members too, if you could be vigilant checking your emails. If you can check those city emails, respond back to city clerk so she makes sure that you are aware of any kind of changes that are going on. But again, I'd like to thank everyone for watching tonight. Appreciate everyone's concern for the city. I too want to lift up our appointed officials for the job that you're doing with the city and your city staff as well. Of course, we're still in kind of crazy times right now, and certainly appreciate everybody's willingness to abide by what's best for everyone. So with that being said, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by the mayor and second by Vice President. Roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace?
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens?
Aye.
Councilwoman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Branham?
Aye.
Councilman Dean? Aye. Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Smith?
Aye.